welcome to a vlog. So today is a Friday. I just wanted to do a little bit of a chill vlog. So I started filming last night and I showed you just like what I did yesterday basically. The weather was pretty gross, so I was supposed to teach class in the afternoon, but it ended up getting canceled. So I like made my bed and cleaned up my room and got everything all tidy, which is like so satisfying. And also I think just like helps me like have a clear head and feel like relaxed and like I can actually get things done, because I'm one of those people that like when my space is messy, I can function, but I function less well. So yeah, I did that. I did a little bit of yoga, which I attempted to get some clips of, but the angles were probably very strange. I am doing the 30-day yoga with Adriene like January challenge, which happens every year. This is my first year actually doing it, but I am excited. I have not missed a day so far. There have been a couple days that I've like stacked practices because I've been too tired on some day, or like one day I had a new tattoo, so like I was not able to really do anything. I have been sticking with it and that's going really well. And I've practiced yoga for a long time, but kind of on and off, like in spurts. And I think when I'm doing it, I always feel a lot better. And then when I'm not doing it, I'm like, oh, well, I could, but you know. And then when I get back into the swing of things, I am always grateful that I am practicing every day. So that's what I did last night. And I also did a little bit of reading. I have a fair amount of books on the go at the moment. One of the things I'm going to try to do this weekend is like clear the decks a little bit so that I can start some new stuff, because I have a library stack that I am very excited about. And I think I'll actually go grab that and show you. Okay. Okay, so I have a lot of books. Not all of these are ones that I'm reading at the moment. I'm just going to talk about the library books second, because I haven't touched any of those yet. So these are all of the books that I am reading at the moment. First we have Winter by Carl Ove. Focus. Okay, there we go. No, don't focus on me. By Carl Ove Knausgaard, and this is part of his seasonal quartet. So Ali Smith has a seasonal quartet, Knausgaard also has a seasonal quartet, and these are nonfiction, and they're kind of like collections of little short pieces about various like animals, household objects. A few are like letters to his unborn daughter. As the quartet proceeds, she is like in different stages. His wife is pregnant, and then eventually she has the child. So I'm enjoying this. I have mixed feelings about it. I started the autumn one in the fall last year, and then the timing of my reading worked out that it wasn't really fall by the time that I was like, basically I took too long to read it. Like I was dipping in and out of it, and then it was already turning to winter, and I was like, I'd really like to read this when it's actually the season that's being talked about. So I thought I would reset a little bit, and start back up with this one. And this one I'm actually not liking as much as the autumn one so far. It is a very beautiful edition. It has all of these like different artworks. Focus. And the kind of short pieces are interspersed with these. Oh, there's another one. These very cool paintings. So I like the whole idea of it and the vibe of it. I'm just like waiting to see whether the execution will be something that I vibe with. Because so far it's kind of hit or miss. Like some pieces that I like love, and some I'm just like kind of underwhelmed by. So that's the first one. Then we have The Tea Dragon Festival by Kay O'Neill, and this is just so lovely. This is what I was reading last night. I probably could have finished this like much faster if I wanted to, but I've just really been enjoying like living in this world, and I kind of want to prolong that. I also don't own the third one, which comes after this, so I'm gonna need to get my hands on that pretty soon. Yeah, I love this. Great series, wonderful representation. Like they have sign language, they have disabled characters, they have characters of all different like races, though I don't know that like races exist in the same way in this universe as they do in ours. I'm not sure about that. Just super inclusive and very like magical, queer, all the good things. So yeah, I love that one, and I will probably finish that this weekend. Then we have one of the big boys that I talked about in my last video. This is It by Stephen King. This I am not that far into at all. I am on page 40 and I'm trying to get to 104 by the end of the month. So I still have plenty of time to accomplish that goal, but I'll probably dip into this over the course of the weekend as well. And then we have Stamped: Racism, Anti-Racism, and You by Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. Hopefully that's focusing. This is like a remix for a younger audience of Kendi's book Stamped from the Beginning, which is a much larger, longer volume that I do hope to read eventually, but this is kind of like a sneak preview for myself, I suppose. That is basically like a history of racism in the United States, and so far I'm really liking this. It's like makes me feel like I'm in school again, but like in the best way. And I'm so glad this book exists. I wish it existed when I was like in middle school. I had been able to read it sooner in my life. I feel like I would just, my brain would be better and I would have a better and more full understanding of the history of racism and the construction of race and all those important things that inform the way the world works, unfortunately. That one, I've been working my way quite slowly. I started this actually last year, so like a couple months ago. I think it was in the fall, but I am coming up on the end. I think I'm about 100 pages from the end. So yeah, this I highly recommend, especially if you're white. Yeah, that's that one. Then we have House of Leaves, which is another big boy from my recent video. Oh my god. That sound is like ASMR to me. So this is great. I love it so far. I'm like so hooked and I'm only 2 chapters in, and I will be hopefully jumping into this over the weekend as well. I feel like I have a lot of reading plans this weekend, which is like normal for me, but also these are a lot of books. And then in addition to all of those, I also have a couple audiobooks and ebooks that I've been listening to and reading on my phone. So I'm gonna just list those out for you. We have Night of the Living Res by Morgan Talty, which is a collection of like interwoven short stories about the Penobscot tribe, or members of the Penobscot tribe, and their kind of everyday lives. It's fiction, and I'm really enjoying that one. That one is an audiobook that I have in right now, and I am getting very close to the end. I only have about 2 hours left. Really enjoying that one. And then I have People We Meet on Vacation, which I put on hold a couple weeks ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago, and I got like a skip the line hold, which means that the person before me decided that they didn't want it right now, so I got a little bit early, which was great. That's by Emily Henry. I don't know if I said that. I'm enjoying that one. It's very like fun, light romance vibes. It's about 2 friends who kind of like reconnect. They used to go on this yearly trip together, Alex and Poppy, and they reconnect after like a falling out that we don't really know what happened, but that's kind of left as a surprise, and it jumps back and forth in time between this current trip that they're going on after this long separation and the various trips that they've taken over the years. So we're kind of working up to that final like reveal, and I have my own ideas about what it'll be, but we'll see if I'm right. Then I have Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which is an ebook, and it's the next book in the Brown Sisters trilogy by Talia Hibbert. It's a romance. It's about the second sister, who's the middle sister, the second oldest, and the second youngest. Ooh. And I'm really enjoying that one. I read Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I think I finished that in January, actually. So I finished that a couple of weeks ago. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite. So this one I'm actually liking a lot better. And it's like, the first one was fine, but this one is definitely more my speed. And I think part of that is because Danny is like an academic, like that's her main thing that she does. And so it's filling that hole in my life, the void that not being in academia has left. I'm really enjoying that. Like a lot of it takes place on a college campus, and she talks about the classes that she's teaching and her students, and yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And I really like the love interest as well. It's very sweet. His name is Zaf. So that's that one. I think that's it for audio and ebooks at the moment. I do have some holds in, but I haven't started any of those, so I'm gonna leave those off the table for now. But next, I went to the library the other day and I got these 3 lovely books. The first one is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and this is like highly anticipated read for me. I read Earthlings last year and I have mixed feelings about it, but it definitely drew me in and made me interested to read more from her. I've heard fantastic things about this book from everyone I know who's read it, and I feel like it's one of those books that was like had a giant online presence in 2022, and probably even previous to that, though that was kind of when I became aware of it. I'm really excited to get into this one, and also it's quite short too. So that's the first book from the library. Then I have In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado, and this is Machado's memoir, and it kind of uses the tropes of horror and the haunted house to talk about an abusive relationship that she was in. From what I understand, that's kind of like the blurb that I feel like people use. And this I actually started as an audiobook a few weeks back, and it wasn't like computing for me as an audiobook, and I thought I really needed to get a physical copy. So I have actually started reading / listening to this. I've gotten through the introduction and a little bit of the first chapter, but I really wanted to switch to physical copy. So hopefully I'll get into this one. If not this weekend, then next weekend or next week. But I do also have a fair amount of nonfiction, like between the Knausgaard and the Kendi book, I feel like I have a fair number of nonfictions on the go at once. So hopefully I'll finish one of those before I start this, just to stay balanced. And then the last one, those 2 were holds that I had put in previously. The last one was kind of a wild card that I just picked up because I saw this cover and I thought, wow, I need to read that book. So this is The School for Good Mothers by Jessamine Chan. I haven't heard a lot of people like talking about this or having read it. It is a new release, or new-ish. It came out in 2022, so last year. But from what I understand, this is kind of about a mother, and she's having to like defend her right to keep her child. I think it's kind of about like women of color, mothers of color, and the politics around child services, from what I understand. I could be totally missing the bar on that. Missing the bar? Is that how you say that? I don't know. I'm terrible with like aphorisms. I can't even think of the word. Not innuendo, not aphorism. Like turns of phrase? No thought head empty. What can I tell you? But yeah, I primarily picked this up. I think I read the first page and found it interesting, but I primarily picked this up because of the cover, because I am like weirdly attracted to just like this shape. Like I think one day I'll get a tattoo that has this shape on it, because I love an archway. I can't even begin to tell you how much I love an archway. Yeah, that's everything I'm reading right now. I have a little bit of time until I have to head to work. I'm gonna move this so that it's not like in the way. Oh my god, so many books. This morning I woke up a little bit early because it was the last day of this like writing workshop on Zoom that I've been doing this week. It's through Write or Die, I believe is the name of the like organization that's like putting it on. So basically it was free and I saw it on Instagram and I was like, I should be writing more, so I should make myself do this. And it was hard, but I did make every day, which I'm very proud of myself for, because I've been terrible at waking up early recently. And we would get on Zoom every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern time, and there would be a bunch of people in there, other writers, and also the person who was kind of running it. And they would provide a prompt at the top of the hour, and then we could all write for that hour together and use the prompt, or it was kind of open-ended. So if you didn't want to use the prompt that they provided, you could work on something that you were already working on, or like basically the idea is just to get together and write for an hour in the morning. And I really enjoyed it. A couple of days were harder than others to like get going, and I was varying levels of awake over the course of the week, so that definitely affected things as well. But overall, it was really great to get some kind of outside inspiration from someone else, and to find myself writing about things that I wouldn't normally write about because of the direction of the prompts. So I'm hoping to keep that writing practice going on my own, not necessarily at 8 a.m. every morning, because that's kind of hard for me in terms of like my sleep schedule, and just I tend to stay up a little bit later, so it ends up being more difficult to wake up early. But I'm really excited to take a look at some of those things that I wrote earlier this week and hopefully kind of develop them into something else. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the kind of it was geared towards creative nonfiction, which is primarily what I write. So yeah, that was great. And then after I did that, I had some breakfast, drank my coffee, and I got in my car and I went to go take class because I haven't taken a dance class in a while. So I was all excited and I got in my car and I went to go take class, and then I discovered that it was a snow day and that class had been canceled. So that was a little bit of like an arrow to my heart because I was really anticipating going to class since I haven't been in so long, and it was also one of my favorite teachers. But it's okay, we move, everything will be fine. Instead, I just stopped at the grocery store. I picked up a couple things I needed. I was out of milk, for example. I know this is like totally riveting content. And so I came home and now I'm here talking to you about books. And I'm gonna have to head out in a little bit, in like probably an hour-ish, because I have to head to work around 1. And I also have a rehearsal tonight that I have not yet planned for, which I really need to plan for because the piece is getting performed in February, whether it's done or not. So I think I'll probably put in some time now trying to like plan that and work on a little bit of choreography stuff, and then I'll change, get ready to go to work, and hopefully get back and have more reading time in the evening. But yeah, wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you a little bit later. Okay, welcome back to the vlog. It has been a little bit since I last talked to you. So today I went to a used bookstore and I have been looking for the remaining series of Unfortunate Events books that I do not own, because I haven't owned all of them ever. When I was younger and I was reading the series, I would just get the ones that I didn't have out from the library, and then a couple of them I think I got as gifts, and then a couple of them I bought myself. But let me show you what I have. So basically this is the situation. And these are all, this is not my regular shelf. Like I'm currently at my mom's, excuse you. I'm currently at my mom's house. So this is a shelf in her house, and I didn't have room in my new apartment to bring every book that I own. So these are staying here. But this top shelf is mine, and maybe I'll also show you this bottom shelf because these are also all mine. The middle shelf is my sister's, so I'm not gonna worry about that. But yeah, so these are the ones that I currently have. This one I picked up at the end of last year from a thrift store, and this one I picked up just last week, I think, or a couple of days ago at Goodwill. So these are the ones that I picked up today. I found so many, and I'm very, very excited about all of them. So let me put them up there and then I will show you. Okay, and there we have it. This is so satisfying. Okay, so I am still missing number 10, which is The Slippery Slope, but hopefully I will find that one this year and then I will have a complete set. So yay, very excited about that. I did actually already have number 9, The Carnivorous Carnival, but as you can see, I got it in hardback because they had it, and I would like to hopefully have all of them in the hardback editions, which are so beautiful and like have this really nice paper spine. So yeah, this one is a paperback and it's still perfectly good, so I'll probably end up leaving it in a little library or donating it to one of my local used bookstores. While I'm here, I thought I might as well show you these books that I never show on camera. So these are the books that I have at home. We have The Giver, The Shining Girls. This is like a time travel-y thriller that is like, the writing isn't that great, but the plot is fun. Little Constructions by Anna Burns. I love that one. Slaughterhouse-Five is another favorite. Everything I Never Told You, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, Little Fires Everywhere. Oh, actually, those should be switched. This is where my like annoyance about bookshelf organization comes in. Okay, that has been fixed. Yeah, so Celeste Ng, I love both of these as well. I love Ocean Vuong, obviously. Bridge of Clay, this made me cry, but I don't remember why because I read it a couple years ago now. The Tale of Despereaux and A Bear Called Paddington are some childhood favorites of mine, and then I'm not really going to talk about Tintin because I think they're pretty problematic and I haven't read them in a long time, so we're not going to worry about that. Then down here on the bottom, we have Body Positive Power by Megan Jane Crabb, Difficult Women by Roxane Gay, which is one of my favorite short story collections of all time, probably, but it is very intense. Please look up trigger warnings before picking that one up. Then we have Hunger by Roxane Gay, which is a fantastic memoir. Sister Outsider by Audre Lorde, which is one of my, like, everyone should read this in their lifetime books. Caucasia by Danzy Senna has a similar vibe to The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett, I believe, and that one's on my TBR. Their Eyes Were Watching God has one of my favorite endings of all time. Then we have Gender Outlaw by, who's this by? By Kate Bornstein, which is like a queer classic, I guess. I liked it well enough, but it is definitely outdated in terms of current understandings of gender. Being Mortal by Atul Gawande is about like how we deal with old people and how messed up the nursing home system in the US is. It's a great nonfiction read. Then we have John Locke, A Letter Concerning Toleration, which I had for a college class. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. The John Green section, which is everything John Green has written in terms of novels. I went through a big John Green phase in high school, so those are there. Then we have An Absolutely Remarkable Thing and A Beautifully Foolish Endeavor, which are some great books by Hank Green. They're very like sci-fi but still kind of like current events-y, and I like absolutely devoured those. I read them in like maybe 1 or 2 days each. Then over here we have my tiny classic section. We have Romeo and Juliet. This is a sweet little copy that I picked up in New York when I lived there. Shakespeare's Sonnets, which is another book that I had for a class that I took in college. Dracula, also for college, but you know, we love Dracula. Orinoco, which was for my class on the 19th century novel. I haven't actually read all of this yet. Oh, hello. Hi. Thank you. Thank you for helping. Okay, and then we have Pamela by Samuel Richardson, which is another book that I had for the 19th century novel. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, Pride and Prejudice, and then the rest of my Austens. These were all, apart from this one, for a class that I took that was all about Jane Austen. I have not actually read all of these yet. This one is very fun because it's excerpts from like her notebooks and the stuff that she wrote as like a young person. It's called The Teenage Writings, and yeah, I have all these in the Oxford editions, and then these are just kind of like mismatched other ones. Maybe eventually I will like make it so that I have all of the Jane Austens as the same edition, because it would be a little bit more satisfying, but that's what I have for now. And then lastly, a couple that don't fit on the shelf, we have The Lone Ranger and Tonto Fistfight in Heaven by Sherman Alexie. This is a great book that I got for a class in college. We have Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. This was also for my class on the 19th century novel, and I haven't read all of it yet. Or have I? I'm trying to remember. I feel like I did. But yeah, that was also for college. Also a great read. Lots of interesting stuff there about like colonization and exoticism. And then here, this is like maybe the only book on this shelf that's not like something that I have already read or was supposed to have read for school. This is Hild by Nicola Griffith, and I actually picked up this copy at a little library near where I live, and it looked really cool. I really like the cover. It is incredibly long. Yeah, like over 500 pages, but I am curious about it, so maybe I'll pick that up this year, though I do have a fair number of long books on my list already. And I forgot to show you, but I did actually pick up 2 like double copies of 2 of the Series of Unfortunate Events books. I have 6, The Ersatz Elevator, and 3, The Wide Window, and these I'm actually going to be sending to a friend of mine, Elle, who is also completing their A Series of Unfortunate Events collection in their home library. Also, if you want to give them a follow, they also have a bookstagram. They are at Leafy Spine, and I will leave all of their like account info down below. So yeah, you should follow them, and Elle is since I know you're probably watching, these are coming to you. Yay! Hello, and good morning, and welcome to Sunday. I don't have a lot planned for today. My day is pretty much totally open, so it's gonna be a chill, relaxing kind of a day. I have 2 yoga practices to do today because I did not do my 30-day yoga with Adriene practice yesterday, so I'm gonna stack both of them today. I think I'm gonna do one in the morning and then one when I go to sleep, or like at bedtime. And excuse me. Other than that, I don't have a lot planned. I kind of want to go on a walk because it's been a while since I did that. I am also going to take some time to work on some writing stuff because I have not been, this past week I spent a lot of time kind of writing new pieces, and I had a prompt today, so I was writing a lot more, but I kind of want to go back and look at some of the stuff I have in my drive that I wrote like in December and previous to that, and see if I can like start to edit and work on some of those pieces a little bit more. So I'm gonna do that. I also would like to like organize my drive a bit more because right now it's kind of like sometimes I give things random titles and then I don't know how to find them, and I'm just paging through my Google Docs like trying to find this one thing that I know is in there and under some weird name. So I think I'm gonna do some organization, some digital organization as well. But before I get to all that, I wanted to offer you a little bit of a reading update because I finished 2 books in the past 2 days and started another one. The 2 books I finished were Night of the Living Rez by Morgan Talty and People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Both of those were audiobooks that I had in through Libby. Love Libby. If you don't have Libby, get a library card. Never pay for an audiobook in your life. 2 very different vibes with both of those. Night of the Living Rez is much darker, and I actually, when I went into it, I did not know that it was a short story collection. I thought it was a novel, but that was just like lack of research on my part. When you like to go into books kind of blind, you end up picking things up and thinking they're one thing and then there's something else. But I was pleasantly surprised. I don't know if I would have picked it up if I had known it was a short story collection, but the whole collection is interwoven and deals with the same kind of set of characters at different points in time. So it did feel like an interconnected whole, even though they were each kind of distinct in their own right. Heavy trigger warnings, so if you do plan to pick this one up, just look into it and kind of decide for yourself if it's something that you can engage with in a healthy way. But I thought it was so well done. At the end, the last story and the ending kind of left me totally stunned and speechless, and I had to go run a rehearsal like 15 minutes later, and I was like, okay, I need to like put this down over here in my brain so I can like go and be a functioning person for a bit. But yeah, really powerful writing. I think the writing style I would compare to something like Difficult Women by Roxane Gay, which is another collection of short stories. Again, heavy trigger warnings on that as well. But yeah, just like very well crafted, so interesting to read, and I really appreciated his work, and I would recommend picking it up if you're looking for short stories. If you're not looking for short stories, yeah, that one was great. I'm also not really going to talk about like star ratings, I guess, because I'm trying to not do those this year. I kind of found that like I was thinking too much about how I was rating books, and that it wasn't really something that was helpful for me in my reading experience. So I am kind of doing away with that for myself because I feel like there are other ways to talk about how much a book meant to me or how it affected me without kind of trying to fit it into this model of ratings. So yeah, that's the first one. I finished that one on Friday afternoon. And then the other one was People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Really enjoyed it. Read it in just a couple days. The audiobook was like very compulsively readable. And I think I'm of two minds about this, because I think on the one hand, it was great. I really enjoyed it. Emily Henry, having now read 2 of her books, I read Book Lovers before this one. She has a way of crafting like characters that are kind of like weird and are friends before they become a couple, which is something that I really appreciate, because it seems like their relationship is founded on like real similarities as opposed to just physical attraction, which, like, don't get me wrong, physical attraction is an important part of any relationship, but the fact that they connect on that kind of like human level first is something that's important to me. And also, I think comparing this one to Book Lovers, they felt a little bit formulaic. Like, if you kind of subbed out a few different details, the plot structure felt very similar to Book Lovers, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I feel like if you find a formula that works for you and then you can just start banging out books, clearly people love Emily Henry and people love what she writes, so like there's no problem with that. But it started to feel predictable once I kind of like figured that out, I guess. That said, I do think I liked People We Meet on Vacation a little bit more than Book Lovers, just because Poppy and Alex's dynamic and like their inside jokes and the way that the novel kind of leaps around in time really appealed to me, and I thought it was kind of a more interesting approach than Book Lovers and less like straightforward. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun romance to pick up, I would recommend that one. It definitely like made me laugh out loud a couple times and was just like a nice little companion to have over the course of the time that I was reading it. The last book update that I have for you, or reading update I should say, is that I started The School for Good Mothers. Oh my god, so reflecty. There we go. I started The School for Good Mothers 2 nights ago, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm about, let's see, 16 pages in, which is not that far, but so far, like, very compelling start, and I will give more full thoughts on this when I'm like have gotten more into it, I guess. I did also pick up a few more audiobooks because I am insatiable and I can't stop listening to audiobooks. I feel like this is the year of me just like devouring audiobooks as a medium. But last night I started The Invisible Kingdom by Megan O'Rourke, which is a nonfiction about chronic illness and specifically the author's own experience. It's kind of a combined approach of like, I think a little bit memoir, like talking about her own experience with chronic illness, and then also an informational kind of text about autoimmune conditions as a whole and kind of how they're dealt with in Western medicine and why that's problematic, and that's kind of the whole mission of the book, I guess. And I'm really enjoying it so far. I am like really appreciating how much it has gripped me from the beginning, because I often find it hard to get into nonfiction reads initially, but this one is really, really good and I'm really liking it so far. And I also just got in 2 more audiobook holds. Take a Hint, Danny Brown, which I was reading as an ebook, but I feel like I'm just not an ebook person. Like, their only utility is like kind of when I'm out and about, either at work in a lull or in like a grocery line or something, and I want to be reading and I only have my phone, but I just haven't been picking it up because I've been on this audiobook kick. So I got the audiobook for that one, and I'm gonna like pick up where I left off in the audiobook, and I think I was like around chapter 10. So excited to continue with that one. And then I also have Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sue Lin Tan, which is the second in the duology that she wrote. That's like a fantasy duology that's based around Chinese mythology. I read The Daughter of the Moon Goddess a couple months back when I was getting my wisdom teeth out, and it kind of saved me. So I'm excited to be kind of like back in that universe again, and I really enjoyed the first audiobook. So excited to pick that one up soon. Yeah, I think that's it for reading news. I have yet to touch these 2, but I'm sure I will get to them when I get to them, you know? No rush. We're not rushing. We're just living our lives. We're drinking our tea, you know? That's about it for now. I'm gonna go do the things that I said I was gonna do, and I will check back in a little bit. Okay.